Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, rulers, yourselves, despots, serfs, peasants, vassals. It is I, a useful idiot, and today I want to say goodbye to Timothy Geithner, Treasury Secretary of the United States under Obama. And I just want to say he couldn't leave too soon. Well, no, actually he could have left sooner, so I take that back. I wish he'd left a long time ago, but he's going to be gone now. Although it won't make any difference, I'm glad to see him go. And during his tenure as head of the New York Federal Reserve and then as the Treasury Secretary, most, if not all, the major Wall Street banks would have collapsed if the government had not intervened to save them. And first under Hank Paulson, and then as Treasury Secretary, he oversaw this entire debacle. And began with the collapse of Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, and it would have led to the collapse of Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, AIG, Citigroup, Bank of America. Probably only J.P. Morgan and Wells Fargo could have survived, but probably not. And then, of course, through the international connectedness, all the banks of Europe would have been trashed as well. So he oversaw all the bailouts. And, of course, years later, we found out the true amounts of all the bailouts. So Timothy Geithner has a lot more to answer for than previously, although who could forget all his squirming, awkward, combative, and amnesia-ridden appearances at congressional hearings. And he takes claim, along with Ben Bernanke of the Federal Reserve, to avoiding a second Great Depression. But I say the jury's still out on that, because first of all, I'm not convinced that we've avoided a second Great Depression. And also, if you look at historical examples, like Argentina and like the 1920 Depression in the United States, where government intervention and the rescue of the financial sector was not part of the bargain, and these depressions were relatively short, and growth was returned to in a very short amount of time, a matter of a couple of years. Right now we're in a systemic retraction that is much like the previous Great Depression in the United States, but we'll see in the long run. So the Geithner agenda, along with Bernanke, and this is the bottom line, this is it in a nutshell, the Geithner agenda, along with Ben Bernanke, was to take 5 years to refill all the broke banks with free money. So that is Timothy Geithner's crowning achievement, is to take the last 5 years and refill all the broke banks with free money. So they're doing great. And the rest of America has kind of been left out to dry because, of course, Geithner didn't really do anything to help the citizens of this country, particularly no serious attempt to rescue homeowners and their underwater properties and their foreclosures. But Geithner, like Bernanke, he knew about all the fraud and he did nothing about it. He knew about all of it, including the LIBOR manipulation. He didn't see any of the damage that was to come. So who would trust any of his numbers, budgets, projections, or analysis? So how has he served the United States as a Treasury Secretary when we can't trust any of his numbers, budgets, projections, or analysis? So that said, let's look at what the legacy is. What's Geithner going to leave behind? So there was no purge of senior management or board of directors of the financial sector, including Bank of America and Citigroup, which Geithner practically owned at one point. No curtailment of huge bonuses or attempts to tax them. No banks got broken up. There's no curb on lobbying and revolving door hiring. No prosecutions of massive criminality. No serious attempt to rescue homeowners. And that is crowning achievement. He's left us with a dangerously concentrated, politically powerful, extremely corrupt, unproductive financial sector, and a clear message that a huge crisis caused by massive fraud and criminality receives nearly zero punishment. And then a weak regulatory laws and institutions, and the icing on the cake, massive income inequality, including the working class and the middle class falling behind. And that's not to mention all the gruesome details of how he coddled and did a lot of favoritism deals and special vehicles to save all these unsavory characters in the financial sector, including AIG and BlackRock, Bank of America, and Citigroup. So, and then last but not least is his claim that we profited off the bailouts. Well, if you look on the surface, what the publicly stated bailouts are, there may be some speck of truth to that, but that truth is quickly undermined when we look at the real figures of what the real bailouts were, and certainly we are not making profits on that. So good riddance, Timothy Geithner. You are a weasel extraordinaire, and I am glad to see you go, and I can't wait to see what corporate bootlicker takes your place, so I can see who's going to maintain those exact same policies for the next 4 years. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.